The United States Penitentiary at Marion, Illinois, opens in 1963 as a high-security federal prison meant to replace Alcatraz. It is designed to hold the most disruptive and dangerous inmates in the federal system. From the start, Marion is rigid, controlled, and violent. By the early 1970s, it becomes a place where race determines survival and power determines life or death. What develops inside its walls does not stay contained. It spreads through the entire federal prison system and permanently changes how punishment is enforced in the United States. If stories like this matter to you, consider subscribing, because what happens next reveals how this system truly works. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, American prisons undergo rapid change. Courts expand prisoners' rights. Racial tensions intensify nationwide. Drug trafficking increases inside institutions. Informal inmate governance collapses. In this environment, prison gangs form as structures of protection and control. Some begin as loose racial alliances. Others evolve into disciplined criminal organizations. At Marion, one group moves faster and more violently than the rest. The Aryan Brotherhood originates in California state prisons in the early 1960s. It forms as a white supremacist group claiming to protect white inmates against perceived threats from other racial gangs. By the late 1960s, it spreads into the federal system. Marion becomes one of its most important footholds. The prison's population includes inmates transferred for violence, escape attempts, and gang leadership. This concentration creates ideal conditions for organized brutality. The Aryan Brotherhood does not operate as a casual association. It uses hierarchy, ritual, and enforced loyalty. Membership is selective and permanent. Initiation requires violent acts, often murder or attempted murder, carried out on command. Members swear blood oaths that cannot be broken. There is no retirement. Leaving the group is treated as treason and punished by death. These rules are enforced without hesitation. At Marion, the Brotherhood uses these principles to consolidate power. It exploits racial segregation that already exists in housing assignments and inmate culture. White inmates who refuse alignment are targeted for intimidation. Other gangs are challenged directly. Violence is not random. It is strategic. Attacks are coordinated to send messages. Murders are staged to demonstrate reach and discipline. Fear becomes the primary tool of governance. During the 1970s, contraband markets expand inside Marion. Drugs, weapons, and favors circulate through inmate networks. The Aryan Brotherhood positions itself as a controlling authority over these markets. It levies taxes on drug sales. It enforces debts through assault and murder. It offers protection at a price. This economy depends on intimidation and silence. Cooperation with prison staff is treated as a capital offense. Weapons at Marion are improvised but lethal. Knives are fashioned from metal scraps, sharpened plastic, or stolen tools. Attacks are often sudden and close range. Victims are stabbed repeatedly to ensure death. These assaults occur in cells, hallways, and recreation areas. Response times are slow. Guards are outnumbered and limited by policy. The prison's design prioritizes containment, not rapid intervention. Correctional officers face constant danger. Some are assaulted. Others are threatened indirectly through inmate networks. The Aryan Brotherhood studies staff routines and vulnerabilities. While there is no evidence of systematic guard collaboration, investigations later reveal moments of negligence and failures to act. Overcrowding and understaffing worsen the problem. Administrative control erodes as violence becomes routine. By the late 1970s, Marion records an increasing number of homicides and near-fatal assaults. Many are linked directly to the Aryan Brotherhood or to conflicts it provokes. The prison develops a reputation as the most dangerous federal facility in the country. Transfers to Marion are viewed as punishment in themselves. Inmates arrive knowing that alignment with a gang may be necessary to survive. The Brotherhood's influence extends beyond Marion. Members maintain communication with counterparts in other federal and state prisons. Orders are transmitted through letters, visitors, and coded messages. Contract killings are arranged across institutions. Marion functions as a command center. Leadership decisions made inside its walls affect violence nationwide. The federal prison system lacks effective tools to isolate and neutralize this coordination. Efforts to suppress the gang rely on traditional disciplinary measures. These include segregation, transfers, and loss of privileges. None prove effective. Segregation units become breeding grounds for further radicalization and planning. Transfers spread the Brotherhood's ideology to new locations. The group adapts quickly. Violence escalates in response to enforcement pressure. The Aryan Brotherhood also benefits from broader systemic issues. Racial segregation, while unofficial, is tolerated in practice. Prison administrations rely on inmate hierarchies to maintain order. This informal reliance creates space for gangs to operate as shadow authorities. At Marion, this balance collapses. The Brotherhood does not merely participate in inmate governance. It replaces it through terror. In October 1983, the situation reaches a breaking point. 2 correctional officers are killed on the same day in separate incidents. These murders are not spontaneous. They are deliberate acts of retaliation and control. The killings shock the federal prison system. They expose the inability of existing policies to contain organized inmate violence. In response, the Bureau of Prisons takes unprecedented action. Marion is placed on permanent lockdown. Inmates are confined to their cells for 23 hours a day. Movement is severely restricted. Programs are suspended. Contact between inmates is minimized. This lockdown is not temporary. It becomes the defining feature of the institution. The decision marks a turning point in American corrections. Marion becomes the first modern supermax-style prison. The goal is total control through isolation. The model prioritizes security over rehabilitation. It is designed specifically to break gang communication and coordination. The lockdown effectively neutralizes the Aryan Brotherhood's ability to operate openly within Marion. The human cost is significant. Extended isolation causes psychological harm. Inmates experience sensory deprivation, anxiety, and depression. Legal challenges follow, questioning the constitutionality of indefinite lockdown. Courts generally defer to prison administrators, citing security concerns. The precedent is set. Extreme isolation is accepted as a tool of control. The Aryan Brotherhood does not disappear. Its influence persists in other institutions. However, Marion no longer serves as a command hub. The lockdown disrupts communication and recruitment. Federal authorities begin developing purpose-built supermax facilities to replicate Marion's control model. This leads directly to the construction of ADX Florence in Colorado. The legacy of Marion is inseparable from the rise of the Aryan Brotherhood. The prison's failure to contain the gang demonstrates how organized inmate violence can overwhelm traditional correctional systems. The response reshapes incarceration policy nationwide. Supermax prisons become the standard solution for managing high-risk inmates and gang leaders. This transformation raises enduring questions. Does isolation prevent violence or merely relocate it? Does the suppression of gangs address root causes or reinforce cycles of control and resistance? Marion provides no simple answers. It stands as a case study in escalation, where unchecked gang power forces the state to adopt extreme measures. Today, Marion remains operational but fundamentally altered. The permanent lockdown ends in the mid-1990s, but the institution never returns to its original mission. Its role in correctional history is fixed. It is remembered not for rehabilitation or reform, but for proving that inmate organizations can rival institutional authority. The Aryan Brotherhood's rise at Marion is not an isolated story. It reflects broader failures in prison management, racial division, and overcrowding. It shows how violence becomes organized when systems rely on fear rather than legitimacy. It also shows how the state responds when control is lost. The consequences extend beyond prison walls. policies born at Marion influence sentencing, facility design, and human rights debates across the country. Supermax incarceration becomes normalized. Isolation becomes routine. The system prioritizes containment above all else. Marion demonstrates that prisons are not closed worlds. They are reactive systems shaped by the forces within them. When those forces organize, the response reshapes law and policy. The rise of the Aryan Brotherhood at Marion does not just explain a prison's collapse. It explains how modern American incarceration is built. The story is not about mythology or notoriety. It is about structure, incentives, and consequences. It is about what happens when violence becomes governance and when fear becomes policy. Marion stands as evidence that control can be lost, and that regaining it can change everything that follows. If you think this story was intense, the next one will leave you speechless. Subscribe for more true crime stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.